Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday
Good
morning,
morning.
Margaret and Karen. And I do see a lot of new visitors in here. Let me see. Alessa and Mahab and Snow and Yash. I've been told by Chris that they are her subscribers, so that's kind of cool. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. If you haven't been to Coffee with Kim before, um, pretty much we just chat about whatever. It's kind of like a bunch of friends sitting at a coffee shop, and whatever pops up, we talk about. So a lot of the time it's crafting and yarn. And Margaret, don't be mad at me, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Uh, but a lot of times it's crafting and grandkids and life in general and hobbies. So it's really fun, and I'm really honored to have Chris here from Yarning over in Japan. Now, Chris, say hi to everybody and tell us a little bit about you and what's going on with you.
Hello, everybody. I was like posting a lot on YouTube about 2 years ago. Then I took a break for a while, and I've started doing like a lot of live streams. But I live in Japan. I've lived here for 10 years. Work in Japan. Pretty much it.
So work brought you over there, and I just
Um,
it's so cool.
so I
What
was
kind
in,
of work do you do in your real life that keeps you away from crochet?
so I'm an elementary school teacher, and
Okay.
I was going through my training when Sandy Hook happened, if you remember that.
Oh, of course, yes.
And that happened. The teacher who got shot went to my high school. So yeah, I didn't want to be a teacher there anymore. So
Wow.
I ended up, going international with it.
That's exciting. So you just said to yourself, that's it, I'm out. I'm going to find somewhere that needs a teacher, and you landed in Japan. That is so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like I would be like, oh, I'll check Alabama or something. You just jumped right over the ocean and off you went. That's really cool. That's really awesome. And I'm sorry about the experience you went through with your friend. That's it's horrible. Um, and the thing is, now that I'm in the cafeteria with the kids, you see it. You see what they're learning. You see why they have to learn these things. And it's all because, you know what I mean? It's all because of that. And it's a shame because when I was in school, we didn't have to worry about that. We never, I mean, we had fire drills and that was it. So I'm going to actually say thank you for your service because you are doing a great service. So, what do you teach over? What do you teach?
I teach first grade, so math, science, English, social studies, the whole thing.
And you're teaching it to the Japanese children, or are you teaching it to American children over there? You're teaching it to so you speak fluent Japanese, apparently, obviously.
I do not. I teach
Oh,
it in.
well, that's fun. So there's a language barrier a little bit, or
So I'm in first grade, which means that my students, there's two first grades. One where the students come from an English speaking kindergarten, and one where
oh,
they don't. And my class is the one where they don't. So I've got kids who
wow,
know the ABC songs but don't know what the letters are. We can't write their names on day one.
wow,
And we have quite a ways to go to get them to reading and writing at the first grade level. And
sure.
yet somehow we always end up doing it.
That is, well, kids are very resilient. They just get it. So is your school year pretty much the same as what our school year is, like May to
So
September or somewhere around,
school starts in April.
or September to May, sorry. Oh, okay, April. Yep.
School starts in April. Um, it coincides with the cherry blossom season, which is considered the beginning of spring, which is considered the beginning of the year.
Okay.
Um, then it ends in March. So we have a summer vacation and we have winter vacation in those, but they're in the middle of the year, which means that at the end of the school year, there's like a week before the new kids are coming in.
Okay. Wow. That's so interesting. My brain is wrapping around all of that. That's really cool.
Most
So
like teachers in the US, you have all summer to like prepare for the new students to kind of
yes,
like
exactly.
figure out where you're going next. Not so.
Not so much for you, huh?
Not so much for me.
That's cool. And like I'm obviously no teacher, but boy, I love first and second grade. So my cafeteria, the kindergartners are on their own, but I have first through fifth. And the first graders, they're still babies. I mean, they're just still they're little faces, and they just what a great experience every day to be able to be a part of those kids' lives. I'm to the point now where I'm getting hugs, and I'm getting, high fives, and it's so nice to see stuff like that. They're starting to bond with me. I'm not just the substitute lunch lady anymore. So I can imagine being their teacher. I mean, you're almost another form of a parent. You're another guardian for them. You're another resource for them. Um, so
For
that's great.
sure.
That's cool.
Especially since their entire school is being what's the word? In a foreign language. There's my
Yes.
bunny.
Oh, that's adorable.
It's from the dollar store. His name
Of
is
course.
Pete.
Hey, they have dollar stores in Japan. That's fun.
Well, they're called 100 yen shop, but yeah.
Yeah,
Where
so
was I
you're
going?
teaching them in a foreign, wow. Wow.
So imagine you're 7 years old. You walk into class. There's somebody who doesn't look like you, doesn't look like anyone you know, standing there. They're big, they're foreign, and they don't speak your language.
Wow.
And you're walking into the first day of school, and they're speaking at you in a foreign language, and it's fast, and you're
Right.
scared.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's it's admirable, it's exciting, and it's really freaking cool. I love it. I love your story. That's awesome. So you said you took a break from your YouTube channel for a bit, and then you came back.
Yeah.
What prompted you to say, well, two questions. One, is your channel different this time around? We'll start with
Yes.
that.
So I was making videos. I kind of had a system where it was what have I finished? What am I working on? What am I going to do next?
Okay.
But it's not sustainable to have finished projects every week,
Yeah.
especially if you're working on bigger projects.
Mm-hmm.
And so it felt like there were just weeks where I was like, well, I'm working on this, the same thing I've been working on, and I have no finished projects, so I don't
Yeah.
really have anything to say. And that was how my channel was going.
Okay.
But since I've come back, I've had access to the live streaming,
Yes.
which is a lot different,
Yeah.
and I really like it.
I was gonna say I find that especially having guests on, it's really nice to be able to interact with the people you're talking to. I mean, it's okay to do a video and this and that, and you're showing them something or sharing something, but to be able to interact with your watchers is really a great. You're right. It's really a great change up. So, what made you decide to say, "I'm doing this again. Here I am. I'm going to do this again"? Because you know the
Well,
commitment. You know what goes into it. So, what made you put yourself back out there?
so what stopped me is I stopped crocheting.
You
I got
did.
overwhelmed. Yeah, I got overwhelmed. I completely stopped. I just, it was gone, you
Now, do
know?
you think your channel had something to do with that?
I don't know. I think it was like a depression
Okay.
system,
Yep.
or I had gotten some bad news. And
Okay.
I just, once I'm off a schedule and I miss a couple of weeks of posting, it's real hard to get back on.
Sure. Sure.
And so I just never got back on. And then it was like, let's try to come back. Okay, made a couple of videos. Nobody watched them. You know what? I'll just do a live stream. And then it was great.
Yeah.
I got my community all hang out with me.
Nice. Did you have a lot of people come back and like, where the heck have you been? We're glad to have you back, or was it all
It
a new
was pretty
group?
much all new people. I doubled my subscribers in a month.
Awesome. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, the title's really great. So that's going to catch our attention anyway. First of all, you're like, "Ooh, what's going on here?" That's really cool. Um, so pretty much tell me what you do now. Pretty much what's your schedule now? What is your format for your channel now?
So I pretty much just do live streams. I get up my time, 4:30 in the morning, which is probably like maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon your time.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it's the only time I can consistently promise that I'm going to be able to stream. So I stream every day at that time.
Okay.
And then some of the times I'll stream in the afternoons. And I just keep going. Pretty much anytime I'm crocheting, I'm streaming.
That's awesome. And it's just
I'm
pretty much
working a lot.
whatever you're doing right now, you're working on it, you're talking. Do you explain, is it kind of like a tutorial setting, or is it kind of like I'm just crocheting and you're hanging out with me?
I'm just crocheting and you're hanging out with me. I usually have some like relaxing piano music in the background.
Okay.
I'm trying to get like an atmosphere of relaxation.
Sure.
Like, let's hang out, chill. If you watch people crochet, it can be very mesmerizing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it gives people a chance to like have that crafting together feeling.
Sure. Because you're right, because there's so many of us out here doing this. But I don't know about you, but in my life here, my actual human people, I do not have a lot of people that craft and create around me. Um, so to have you guys here, to have it out here is wonderful because it's a like mindset, you know. Why go out and buy that hat and mittens when you know you could sit down and make it and put love into it? When a lot of people around me anyway are like, yeah, well, I could go to Walmart and just buy that and be done in 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
it's nice
But
to
what about
find,
the quality?
yes,
What
yes,
about the there's so many things that go into slow fashion.
yes.
It's not just like, oh, well, it's my hobby. No, there's so much that goes into it.
Oh yeah,
There's um, not having fast fashion. You don't just throw these things away. You can repair them. You understand how construction of garments work.
exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, it gives you a connection to
Yes, and
your.
an appreciation for things. We live in a throwaway world, pretty much. You get a hole in your glove, you throw it away, you go buy another one. If it's a glove you've made, well, you know what went into it, so you know how to fix it, and you can put it back together, and you can make it whole again. Like it's a like-minded, and it's very nice. Frizzy says the community here is my crafting family, and Margaret agrees, and that's true. I know that I can come on here and say, hey guys, I'm working on this. What can I do? If I need an idea, I'm stuck on something. What can I do? I need an idea. And I'm going to get a handful of awesome creative ideas. Do I take them all the time? No. But they're always out there. You know what I mean? And people around me do not get excited for yarn, but people here do. And I'm like, you've got to surround yourself with like minds, especially when it's a hobby like that. And to keep your crojo going, you need people that share what you share. And it's a great feeling to have us
Yeah,
out there.
this is kind of a personal, like alone hobby for a lot of people.
Yes.
And it shouldn't be, but
Right.
it is because of the way things are nowadays.
Yes.
But doing a live stream, this is not a personal hobby anymore. We're doing it together.
And it doesn't matter if there's 2 or 200 people on there with you, it's still somebody sharing that moment with you.
Yeah, like a knitting bee.
Exactly. So, what are you working on right now?
So I am making, so in Japan, my apartment is very cold because there's a draft that comes through that entire wall.
Okay.
So I'm making wall hangings to cover the entire wall from floor to ceiling so that there will be no more draft in my apartment. And it
That's
will not be
cool.
quite so cold. Because as it is now, it is a good 5 degrees colder inside my house than it is outside my house.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because the apartment is constructed that way because they're trying to get people ready for summer.
Oh.
So that it'll be cooler inside the house during the summer. But I don't care about being hot. I hate being cold.
Yes, I'm kind of the other way around. I don't mind being cold because I can bundle. Being hot annoys me. It's just one of those things. But it's funny because I too have a bunch of my squares and blocks hung up here. You can see one right here. But this whole wall is going to be wall hanging. So it will insulate your wall. It will also almost like soundproof it. It did.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's also. Oh, do you enjoy? I have a question for you. Do you in Frizzy wants to know if you speak some Japanese. Have you picked up some?
ああ、ちょっとだけ喋ります。で
So
も
let me
上手
ask
じゃな
a
い。
little bit.
Yes, I speak a little bit of Japanese, but I'm
And
not super.
do you enjoy the culture? Do you enjoy living over there?
When I first got here, I was super enamored with the culture, but after you've been here for so long, it's just normal. Like it's become normal,
Gotcha.
not
Very
something you
busy,
think about.
right?
Yep.
Very, yeah, very busy. Do you live in a bigger city or are you?
I would say my city is medium sized, but the thing, Japanese cities are very different from American cities. They're more compact.
Okay.
Like I don't need a car to go anywhere ever.
Wow.
You can just take public transportation or walk. So if I want to go downtown, it's like a 40-minute walk,
Okay.
which nowadays to me is nothing. I'm like, all right, that's fine. Or I can get on the bus and it'll take me 15 minutes.
Right, 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 right. I was gonna say a 40-minute walk, that's a couple miles, yeah? For me
It's
anyway.
two or three, yeah.
Yeah. For me, I walk slow, so it's a couple miles. I How long have you been? Cece would like to know how long have you been there?
I've been here for 10 years.
That's amazing. Teaching school the whole time.
Teaching school, but not necessarily this school. I've taught everything from like 2-year-olds to 90-year-olds since I got here.
That's really cool. I was going to say, so a lot of the kids when you first started, they're going to be graduating. They're going to be they're going to be headed out soon. So that's neat.
They're in 4th grade now because I just moved to the city not too long ago.
That's cool. So many questions. So here's a good one. Where do you buy yarn over there?
So when I first started, I wasn't sure I was going to fall in love with the craft. So I went online and I went to a place called Yahoo Auctions, which you may have heard of.
I have not.
And people were selling all of their old stash. And so I picked up like, I don't know, 10 or 15 stashes. And it's
Wow.
all like, you don't know what it is. You'll get like little bits and bobs and what even is it? What you just don't know anything. So I just use it.
That's
I
really cool.
run
So you have it stored around you? Is that what I'm seeing? A little next to you?
this whole wall, this whole container
Yep. Yep.
is all yarn. I have a second one as
Of
well.
course, as you should.
There were some like listings where they're like 5 kilos of yarn, which is like 12 pounds of yarn for like 50,000 yen, which is like $37.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'll take 10 pounds of yarn for $30.
Right.
So I would just do that. And I did that several times.
And
So
how
I
long ago
don't
was
buy
that?
yarn anymore.
Right? How long ago was that? Are you still building your stash or have you
No,
learned?
I do not purchase yarn at all. I'm currently attempting to deplete the stash.
Yeah. Me too, right, Margaret? All right, it's confession time real quick. Margaret, I may have cashed out my Joann's cart. But in my defense, they sent me dollar shipping and 25% off my whole order. I mean, I'm throwing money away if I didn't do that.
They knew what was going on. There's a sucker born every second. They knew what was up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it was the middle of the night, so my Margaret wasn't sitting here. But I may have. It was 2 or 3 in the morning, so I got to go and check my purchase history, Margaret. Oh, I'm so sorry. But I did finish my blankets, and I'm happy with that. But I'm still, as you can see, working on more of the Bravo. So here's a question, just back to school for a second. Is it structured similarly, like I don't know, I'm doing the Bravo thing, right? So you reward the kids, you show them this and that, or is there a different type of format for your schools? Is it the same idea as ours, or is it? I'm sorry if that's an ignorant question. I really am, but
So, because it's an international school, we follow the International Baccalaureate system,
okay,
which is not the traditional education where it's like, sit down, we're going to study science for 45 minutes.
right.
It's more like, we are investigating all the things that are related to water. What do you guys want to know about water?
That's
Oh,
cool.
you want to know what happens when water gets cold? Okay, let's freeze some water and see what happens. You guys want to learn about the water cycle? You want to know about rain? All right, let's do that.
That's really neat. And that
And
encourages
you just guide it.
creativity and thinking on their own. Like, so that prompts them to say, well, what do I want to learn? Not what's the teacher going to tell me.
So the
That's
goal
really
is to have lifelong learners, have people be like, oh, yeah, here's a thing I want to know. I have the internet. I'll go figure that out.
yeah. That's wow, that's really exciting. That's really cool. So say you're not working on the wall hanging and you just feel like crocheting. You just sit down and you're like, I feel like doing something. What's your go-to? What's your favorite project to make?
Probably cardigans. I've made
Yeah.
like 7 of them in the last 2 years. Probably cardigans.
That's awesome. Now, do you follow someone else's pattern, or do you just sit down and see what comes off the hook? Or
It, it depends on what I'm feeling. Like, I'll pick a certain stitch. Um, and, cardigans are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels.
right.
So I don't really follow anything. I'll just use a certain stitch and just stitch everything together at the end.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right, Margaret. It's very similar to Montessori.
my son would probably enjoy school if it was like that. He hates school and calls it prison. Oh no, Frizzy, how old is he? They're all saying they knew I was going to cash out my cart. Come on.
I think right now, Frizzy, my favorite cardigan pattern is the hexagon cardigan. I'm really playing around a lot with the design of it, trying to get the sleeves and the waist to sit where I want without losing that element of design.
Now, the cocoon cardigan is different from the hexie, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so the cocoon is the one I made. That's where you take a blanket and you pretty much make it into a sweater, yeah? Okay. I made one of those and I don't love it because I feel like I'm wearing a blanket. That's my I can't get myself, like, people that see me wearing it, they don't say, why'd you bring the blanket from your couch? But in my head, I feel like I'm wearing a blanket. So, do you have What, do you have a pattern that you could share, or do you just, like I said, do you see anybody else and say, oh, I'm going to try that, but I'm going to change it?
Well, the hexagon sweater is just you make 2 giant granny hexagons and you connect them together, and that makes a cardigan.
Okay, that's cool.
Which I think is probably the easiest way for people who are starting out.
Right. Right.
Because you just make a hexagon and you just make it bigger.
Yeah. And then you just pin the sleeves. That's really cool.
I'll do a panel one, but I don't follow anyone's patterns. Just whatever comes off the hook is what comes off the hook.
Yeah. What is your biggest project that you've ever done? We'll start there. What's the biggest project you've ever made?
Like in size?
Yeah.
I made a very, very, very big rainbow blanket.
Okay.
It fits on a double-sized bed. It is the rainbow 3 times.
Wow. Now, do you find that you're okay with the bigger size projects, or do you, like me, get the gotta finishes and you get sick of looking at the same thing, so you try to go to the smaller ones? Yeah.
So when I first started, I was a gotta finisher. Like when I was posting all the time, I had to have something new. I had to have something new. It had to be finished. And now I'm more of a process. It's less about the finished product. It's less about how long it takes to get to the finished product than it is the journey.
I still need to get to that point because I'm like, oh, I want to see what it looks like done. I got to have it done. Got to have it finished.
I also have well over 100 hats because I was like, oh, they're so fast. I'll just make hat after hat after hat after hat.
I only have one head. I don't care.
Now I have a giant, those Costco cold bags, like the really big ones?
Yep.
I have one of those full of just hats and another one full of just scarves. So I'm not doing that anymore.
That is so funny. Have you ever used an Addy or any other kind of machine or yeah? What are your thoughts?
I liked it. And especially when I was in my I need a finished product era, I used it a lot. I tried using it to make cardigans. I tried using it to make panels, but they never turned out very well.
Same. I get to the point where I make the circular tubes and I flatten them and turn them into the panels.
Yeah.
And I sew them together. I have never had success with making a flat panel. I'm I've given up trying, to tell you the truth, because I've had to pull out so many half done panels that I'm like, this isn't worth it anymore. So do you have I'm sorry,
I've tried that. I've tried that as well, using the tubes to make a cardigan or something. But I'm quite a larger lady, and it takes quite a few tubes.
That's why mine came out to just be on the shoulders. Mine's just a wrap. Because it's same. So it takes a lot more time. Now over here, like people, you've obviously heard of Boggy Creek, you've heard of all of that. Are there charities over there? Is it the same idea over there? Like with your hundreds of hats, could you donate them? Are there homeless shelters? Are there stuff like that over there? Or again, I apologize for any ignorant question.
Japan actually has a very good public health system. So there's very, very, very few homeless people.
Really?
Because the government will give you an apartment.
Wow.
Their goal is to make you as much of a productive member of society as they can. And you can't do that unless you have a safe and warm place to sleep. And
wow.
So you can basically live. I mean, you have to try to get a job in that, but
Right.
they will give you a place to live,
That
which
is
means
really cool.
it's not the same thing at all.
Right. Right.
It's not
Wow.
necessary.
So, wow. That just opens up so many questions. But I'll digress. I'll oh, here's a very personal question to myself. What do you feel about sugar and cream? The
Like
cotton
the
yarn.
food? Oh,
No,
I've never
sugar.
used it.
You've never. Oh, so there we go, you guys. So
I've
far,
never used any American yarn at all.
really.
Well, I got a Lion brand Mandela once. I went back to the home for this summer and found some at a thrift store, and that is the only American yarn brand I have ever used.
So, what are some of the yarn brands? Do you mind me asking? Or is that too much of a question off the cuff that you might not have the answer to?
So that's the thing, is that most of the yarn is imported because there's no sheep here.
Ah,
So there's Marunaka, which is it's like Michael's,
okay.
you know, and they have their brand of yarn. I don't love it, but it's not bad stuff. I mean, you get some good stuff.
Okay.
But then there's a couple of other brands, but most of it's imports. So you'll get like a puppy Grand Merino from
Okay.
Australia,
Nice. All right.
or you'll get, what else have I got? Von Ruby from, let's see. They usually say where they're from. So you'll just get like random skeins from different countries. This one is particularly old. You can see that. Like
Yeah, that's neat.
70s.
Oh my goodness. I love thrift store yarn. I love that. Um, I'm very jealous of your stash. It's because
But
it's
yeah,
fun.
so
Yeah.
this is the Marunaka.
Okay.
This is what it looks like.
And how does it feel? Well, I can't even ask you how it compares because you don't know. Um,
So this one is very coarse. It is the 60% acrylic, 40% wool
okay.
in the medium size. So this I would say is a 4,
Yeah,
four,
it looks like a bulky 4. Yep. Or a regular.
which
Yeah,
is
that looks
like,
like a 4. Yep.
this is pretty much the biggest you can get.
Oh, really? Okay.
Most, I would say 90% of my yarn is more like a sport weight
Okay. Yep. Yep.
or a fingering weight.
That's really cool. So,
So everything is very small.
oh yeah, yeah. So do you watch a lot of our YouTube content creators? Like, do you watch and kind of see what we're up to? Or, like when we talk about, oh, Michael's has a sale, this and that, you can't just go online and buy from Michael's, right?
Nope. I could buy from Hobie.
Oh, cool. All right. All right.
If I spend over $75, I can get free shipping.
Wow. All right.
But why would I do that when I have all of this yarn?
See, now there's the logic I need. Why would I do that when I have all this yarn? Because I want all the yarn. See, that's my problem.
Well, I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, I will not be able to get through this yarn in my lifetime. And at some point, I'm going to need to leave Japan. And what am I going to do with all of this yarn?
You'd need your own ship just to ship it over.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
resemble that remark. I can relate to that. I look behind me and I'm like, there is no way I will use all this yarn. But then I get an email from Joanne's and there I go. So, but my
You turn
brain
those
goes, oh,
emails
wait,
off. You turn those emails off.
I try. Something way back in my psyche won't let that happen. Um,
You got to turn them off, man. I mean, there's nothing wrong with thrifting yarn, because here's the thing for me. is that this is one of the things for slow fashion, right? So we don't throw it away.
Right.
So I think thrifting yarn and using secondhand yarn is the best thing you can do because it saves it from the landfill.
Sure. Sure. And plus, do you ever go into a thrift store and see something that someone has donated, a blanket or anything like that? Buy it.
I was at the thrift store like a month ago and it was the saddest thing. There was this beautiful, beautiful handmade granny square blanket. Just absolutely gorgeous. $30.
Wow. Yeah.
Soft, like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was so mad.
And there's a catch-22 because in my mind, I say, yes, Miss C, I did. We'll talk about that later. In my mind, I tell myself that blanket is absolutely worth that and more. But the other
Oh,
half of me, yeah, the other half of me is like, well, you're at a thrift store and you don't want to spend $30 on a blanket. So there's the tug back and forth of, I know that this item is worth it, but then my thrifting brain is like, yeah, well, you can't spend that. So it's definitely the tug,
My
Yep.
brain went, this is a beautiful object. This will be hopefully go to somebody else who's going to appreciate it. But at the end of the day, I have enough yarn. I can make it if I want to.
Oh, there you go. Wow. I just need some of your rationalization is what I need.
I think you
Maybe
need
I'll,
some of my lack of big box stores.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's
No
exactly
Joann's, no
it.
Michael's, no Hobby Lobby. Best of luck.
Oh, no hobby. I don't let myself walk in these stores. I can't. That's why I shop online. If I go into Michael's, I'm not just buying yarn. I'm wandering through every single aisle, the dried flowers and the this and the that. And I'm like, oh, I can do that, and I can do this, and I can do that. And it's terrible. That's why when I'm going to shop, I do it online because then I can't just walk around and put stuff in the cart.
Well, that's also one of the good things is that it's so hard to find these big box stores and they're in malls.
Oh,
So
yep.
they're not big like a freestanding store or anything.
Okay.
But you get some really, really good high quality yarn from the dollar store.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
100 yen shop.
Yeah.
I can show you. It's in this panel. Uh, this yarn, this color changing
Pretty.
yarn, it's
Pretty.
100% wool. 30
Beautiful.
grams for 100 yen. It's like 70 cents.
Stop it.
I
So
wish.
100 yen is less than $1.
Yep,
Wow.
by a lot, which is upsetting.
Right?
It used to be almost the same. It used to
Wow.
be almost the same, but now since 2020,
Yes.
since 2020, the
Yep.
money has been devalued quite a bit
Yep.
because
I
they gave out
remember.
a lot. They gave out a lot of services
Sure.
because something like 70% of the population is over the age of 60.
Wow.
So it was like, if you even have a hint of it, you are staying home. We are delivering food to you. You are not
Right.
going anywhere.
Don't come out. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I can remember going back to the yen versus the dollar. I can remember when I lived in Germany, I would have to watch the rates to pay my rent. So I would try to wait until it was 2 to 1. So my rent would be half price for that month. You know what I mean? So it was like,
I know exactly what you mean.
yeah. So it's fun. By the end of my stay there, it was really bad. So my rent went from being like $500. Sometimes it would be up to like 9 or 1,000 because of the exchange rate. And So I get that. It's really hard, but you really do learn a lot of math real quick when you're trying to figure out.
You really do learn a lot of math real quick.
Yes. Yep. Angela says 3 years ago when I moved into my finances family house, I recovered several crochet Afghans. Nice. Nice, Angela. Yeah, I do that as well. I find myself like my camper is filled with blankets um, that I found at Goodwill, but they're beautiful blankets, And so I'm like, you know what? I've paid $3 for this blanket. It's absolutely beautiful. If it stays beautiful, perfect. If it gets, pine tar on it, I'm fine because I only paid $3. You know what I mean? So it's one of those where I can have the beautiful blanket, but I'm also okay not tiptoeing around it. If the kids want to jump on the bed with us some more, I don't mind because, you know, well, first I'm going to eat it, and second, I don't mind getting dirty. Oh, you fed the outdoor cats this morning, Miss C? So it's cold out here this morning. By the way, they're talking a little bit of weather. Um, Now, you're heading into you're heading into winter right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just starting.
Yeah, same. It's cold. It's one of the coldest mornings here today. No snow yet, but
We
I'm
rarely
expecting
get
it.
snow. It rarely gets below freezing.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm, that's
And yet
cool.
I still send $300 trying to heat my apartment in the winter because all of the heat just leaves,
Yeah.
just goes away.
Well, that's why it's really smart what you're doing as far as putting those hangings up. That's a great idea. You're
Yeah.
insulating from the inside.
I don't know how I'm going to hang them up. All of my viewers do not want me to get back on a ladder.
Ah,
I
did we have
fell
a
off
bad
stream.
episode on a ladder?
I fell off a ladder on a stream.
Oh
They're now not allowed on
no.
ladders anymore.
Oh my goodness. It's bad enough to fall off, but with everybody watching you, oh my goodness. That's oh, you didn't get real hurt, no?
No, I was
Okay.
only a couple of steps up.
I have I have ring cameras outside my house and I was hanging up my fall decorations and I did a couple step ladder. It was only 2 steps. But you could see on my ring camera I slow motion fell off of it. I'm like, "Oh no." Good thing it was only a couple steps, but
I basically Superman posed off of it. Like one leg went over, and I was just like, "Ha!"
that's awesome.
Thank
Oh,
God for a low center of gravity.
right? Amen. I hear you. So, do you come from a big family? Does your family, what do they think of your travels and your running across the world?
I have 36 first cousins.
Stop it.
I
Holy
do.
moly.
I have 36 first cousins spread out
That
over 2 countries. I'm the third country. We're all over Canada and the US.
that's really cool.
So my family is huge.
Yeah, it
Like
sounds it.
our big holiday was Thanksgiving dinner because my grandparents would go to Florida for the winter. So
Okay.
they'd stop November for Thanksgiving. And
Sure.
there'd be 40, 50 of us in the house.
Yeah, that is something. Wow. Um, my family is about the last Christmas that we hosted at our house. There were 42 of us, and that was just my siblings and their kids. So I get the large family. And you said, what other countries did you say? Canada, US, and Japan?
Yep, Canada, US, and Japan.
That's really cool. So, what started you crocheting? Who first taught you? How did you learn? Why did you learn?
I learned on the internet. Go YouTube. Um, but I started because it was 2020
Yep.
and I wasn't allowed to go out. And so my hobby was cooking. So I learned how to cook like 8 or 9 different cultures, foods, pretty much everything I learned how to cook. And then I realized that I had gained a whole bunch of weight.
Mm.
And cooking was no longer my hobby. So I needed a new hobby.
Yeah.
One that would keep my hands busy.
Yep.
So I started knitting, actually.
Okay.
And then I knit for a couple months. And then I tried crochet and I was like, oh, this is lovely.
Yeah.
But I still do both.
You do. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you like ship some items home? I was asking because we talk a lot on here about the price of shipping things, and it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
So,
let's not talk about shipping things.
do
Like a fourth of my rent to ship a box home.
right? It is ridiculous. It is really crazy. And they wonder why, the old-fashioned way of shipping is going by the wayside because I find that while you're paying a little bit less, your items aren't guaranteed to get there. I've had things that I've sent the beginning of the month that I'm still like, are they there yet? What are we doing? So it's very tough. So like when I have my channelversary coming up, and when I do gifts now, I'm actually using Amazon for a drop ship because I don't want to pay the shipping. And since I have
Mm-hmm.
Prime, why not? So yeah, shipping is ridiculous. We can all get on that.
I kind of, when I move back to the States, I kind of do want to get a shipping container because I do think it would be cheaper to get a shipping container than to try to send even just all my clothes back home.
Right, right. I'm sure. Just rent a boat, man. This is cheaper.
Because it's ridiculous.
It is. It is. I mean, I get it. What would I charge somebody to take my package across the world? But come on. Come on.
That's one of the reasons I don't sell online because it's like everybody who's buying is going to be in an English speaking country, basically, and it's going to cost like $25 to ship a hat.
Right. So you're selling the hat for 20 and then it's 20 for shipping and yeah. Or even if you're selling it for 8, I get it. You know what I've trained myself? I'm actually very proud of myself is when you buy something like from eBay or something like that, check the shipping costs first before you say, "Ooh, that's only $2." Yeah, but it's $26 shipping, so you're spending. Learn
That's
that
why
lesson.
I started doing, I'll only buy things that are free shipping. And then, but if you do the math, you look at the same item with the shipping included and the shipping like 0, and they're the same price.
Yeah. Yep.
So at
Yep.
the end of the day, it's just whether you'd rather pay the upfront cost and say that it's for the item, or if you'd rather
Yeah.
say that it's for the shipping.
Yep. They get us one way or another, right?
It's the same price no matter which way you go.
Right. So where in the States where are you from?
I'm from Connecticut.
Cool. So the Northeast. So you're used to colder winters. You're good with that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But our houses are insulated.
Amen.
We have central heating. Okay. My family has a wood stove. Like,
Right. Now, is that your specific craft room? Is that where so the room I'm in, I usually hide away when I'm wanting to create or craft. I won't normally sit in the living room or anywhere else. I come in here. Is that where you are now? Is that normally where you tuck yourself away to create or?
I have exactly 2 rooms. The kitchen living room is one room, and then I have my bedroom. We are in the living room.
Okay, cool.
Because there is no other room.
Right. Right. And is that normal for over there? Is that kind of just normal? How they're just smaller apartments?
Oh yeah, for sure. The fact that I have a bedroom at all is actually quite unusual. This would be for a family probably of 5.
Wow. So we're a bit more spoiled than we know.
Oh, like you wouldn't believe.
That is something.
But yeah,
I love, I'm sorry, I love the fact that you're over in a whole other culture, just like chilling and living your life. I think that's really awesome. That's a great experience. Um, do you plan, you're like, I'm here and I'm staying, or do you have like a timeline? Like, I'm going to do this for 20 years and then I'm going back, or I love it here, I'm staying. Is there a,
so in my first 3 years here, I was able to pay off all my student loans. So before I was 30, I was able to pay off all my student loans. And since then, I've been saving up for a down payment for a house
okay,
when I go back to the States.
okay.
And so once I have that down payment, then I will make that decision.
So that's kind of the guiding wire right there is, okay, now I have enough. Do I want to stay here or do I want to head back home? And would you head back to Connecticut?
Most likely, I would probably head back to Connecticut because I'm not looking to purchase like just a home. I'm looking to purchase like a 2-family home or a 3-family home,
Fun.
and I would need my family to help me out.
Right, right. Well, I think there's enough of you. There is a question from Cherryberry in here. I have a non-related crochet question for yarning over Japan. Your wall AC, how does it plug in? Do you hang it or do you plug it in?
This
Oh,
one?
up. Yep.
So this one came with the apartment. Basically, they make a big old hole in the wall, and they have a tube that goes out. Now they're supposed to put the tube in the wall, but in my apartment they did not put the tube in the wall. They put the tube in the window.
Oh,
Yeah. So there is a hole in the window,
yeah.
thus
Wow.
explaining why I am quite so cold.
Wow. Now, I can relate to that because I'm the type of person, I leave my window AC unit in my window all year long because I don't care. I don't care if it's 80 degrees in December or if it's 20 degrees in August. I'm going to limit or I'm going to moderate my temperature. So if I'm hot, I'm going to click on that air conditioner. I don't care. So I know for a fact that the cold air is coming in around that tube on your window. And that's, yeah, yeah.
And thus my
Yes,
project.
absolutely. Now, how are you going to hang them? Are you going to like we have, I have the command strips to hang up stuff here, the stuff you can pull off without
Yeah.
damaging the walls. Is that
So
sort of,
I found some command strips that can hold 10 pounds, and I'm going to use 3 of them to secure each of these panels.
yep, good idea. Yeah, I found the Velcro ones, they can hold up to 13 pounds. So I have all the pictures in this house are hung up with command. I have not hammered any nails or any holes in these walls. Um, we built this house in 2019, so it's not that old. And while I wanted to decorate, I did not want to, jab holes in the walls. So they're out there, but the command strips are good for that. So you're going to use 4 per each. Okay. I would love to see. Do you have a Facebook page as well?
No, I don't. I
Because
have
I
an
would love to
Instagram
see.
and a TikTok.
Ah, I would love to see a picture of it when you start hanging them up and how they look. So if you wouldn't mind popping into my Facebook group, I would love to see it. Um, oh, Margaret, honey, would you mind popping up the link to the Facebook groups if you get a second? Oh, you won't. You can't get one, Cherry. What about a window unit? Mine are easy. Mine are easy in and out.
This unit is also a heater, so it's an air conditioner and a heater. It's what I'm using to heat the apartment right now, but when it gets a little bit colder, I'm going to change to a gas heater.
Yeah, but heat rises, so that's already up at the top of the house.
I know. It's very annoying.
I'm, you're like, okay, Captain Obvious, I get it.
I don't know if you can see, but right underneath the heater,
Yep,
there's like a little thick
yep,
thing.
yep.
I made it. It's a triple layer of crochet to keep the hot air from going straight down and out of the window.
Oh, right. Wow, you're smart. That's
That's where the hole
brilliant.
in the window is.
Thank you, Margaret. So if you would, once you start putting it up on the walls, if you would head on over and show us some of your stuff, I think we would love it. Can you believe it's been almost an hour already?
Yeah, that's going
Right?
fast.
So the last couple of minutes, what can we look forward from your channel? What messages do you have for us? And while I'm thinking of it, everybody, please head on over and throw some yarn in the window. Let's show some Coffee with Kim love over there.
Well, thank you for that. So basically, I think I'm going to be doing more of the same, just having a crochet chats, being real chill.
Yeah, and that's nice. You know, that takes pressure off of you. You're crocheting anyway, right? You might as well share it with people. So that's awesome.
And people enjoy it. I'm actually surprised at how many people enjoy it.
Right? Yeah, it's nice. So yeah, if you haven't checked Chris out already, please go over and check her out. Now, our time, what time? You said about 2 in the afternoon?
It should be somewhere around there.
Okay.
It's 4:30 in the morning, so between 2 and 3.
Okay. Depending
So
on
I
whether we
usually,
set the time back or not. Oh,
yeah, I usually start around 4:50, 5 o'clock. Depends
all
on how
right.
well I wake up.
I hear you. There's mornings I wake up, I'm like, all right, you got to start talking because you've got to start talking in a little bit. So there's some mornings when I just kind of sit there like, I don't feel like talking today. But if you all can believe that, I know. I know. If you can even believe there's days I don't feel like talking. But well, I do appreciate you coming on and staying up past your bedtime. I am going to let you go because I know how it is to stay up late and it's annoying. So I get it. Thank you so much for sharing the culture and all of the stuff I didn't know about your life and your culture over there. And I hope you will come back on with me sometime. And
I'd love to.
although I can't get up at 4 in the morning, I will get up at 2 in the afternoon if if you ever want me to come hang out with you. So thank you so much for coming over here. Everybody, like I said, please hop over, throw some yarn in. Chris, duck because they're going to be throwing it. Here it comes. So don't get hit in the head with
And
yarn.
for my viewers as well. I know y'all are in here. I saw you.
And welcome to everybody. This is kind of what we do. We hang out, we have some coffee. Sometimes we sing silly songs. Sometimes, who knows. But I'm honored to have you all here. Thank you so much. And remember, everybody, I'm going to say it, be happy, be kind, and be creative. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, Chris.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
day. Bye.